Welcome everyone to this episode of the Palmetto Guardian. Just when you thought you've had enough changes, here's another one. Welcome everyone, I'm Sergeant Chelsea Baker.
And I'm Lieutenant Tracci Dorgan.
And this is the first time that we've been on a podcast together.
It is.
I know. And
we've been doing it for so long. I've done it twice with Erskine.
I know, but that's when I was gone.
Yeah.
But I mean, now we get to do it together, so it's all good.
It's all good. We'll do more.
So how was your holidays? I feel like I haven't seen you in a while.
Well, it actually went too quick.
Yeah.
But, I had so much farm work to do, but it rained so much. All it was just mud and slush, and I couldn't get much work done. So I still have a lot of farm work to do. But the holidays were great. We got out and rode the horses on Christmas Day, and it was beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm kind of jealous. But I got to see family. My brother and sister-in-law came down, as well as my grandmother, so that was nice to see them.
Yeah, and you moved.
Yes. Oh, my gosh. I'm so glad that that's over. I'm so glad.
That's always such a stressful
I know, and
time.
especially right before Christmas. I was like, this was the worst timing. But, I mean, it worked out because my brother was able to help and my sister-in-law, and then we had an early Christmas, so then Mom was like, well, we're just going to sit here Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, so let's just go to Columbia and unpack. And I'm like, all right, I guess we're going to go unpack.
Yeah.
So Christmas was just another day for me this year. I feel like the last 3 years, we haven't actually celebrated on Christmas. It's either been before or after because of like the way it falls or schedules. Yeah, so I don't know, but
yeah.
I wish I could have got to Pennsylvania last year, but hopefully this year I'll get to make it up there and see everybody
Put it on
else.
the schedule already.
You know, with our work, like how hard that is. Like you can schedule something and it's like, then something comes up that's like urgent and it's like, oh, what do I do now? Like, so yeah, I try not to plan too far in advance, but sometimes you have to.
Yeah.
Just to get the time.
Yeah.
But so today is an exciting day because we get to talk about something that we don't really get to talk about. So we have some guests coming in to talk about an event that's coming up and hopefully see what they have to say about it.
I look forward to it.
So today we have Staff Sgt. Eric Lawrence. He's the State Marksmanship Coordinator for South Carolina National Guard. And we also have Staff Sgt. William Cox, and he is the Assistant State Marksmanship Coordinator for South Carolina National Guard. So thank you both for being here today.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So could you explain a little bit about what that entails, the Marksmanship Coordinator, I guess?
Basically, we used to go around to units and teach marksmanship, but now we're actually doing courses for the state. We're doing 3 different courses now, so the units are coming to us. We're not going to them. Traditionally, we would go to units, do preliminary marksmanship instruction, but the G3 has kind of turned our world around, and now we're doing, as you know, there's a new qualification coming out for rifle.
Oh, I did not know that.
Neither did I. When's that?
Jeez, they're changing the PT test. They're changing the marksmanship. So what's going on? What's going on with this?
So we're doing the individual weapons training course. We're doing 2 this year.
Where's this at McCready?
Yeah, we're doing it at Argentan.
Okay.
Staff Sgt. Cox is the lead on all the courses. So we're doing IWTS because it's changed. It's not BREM or now it's called PMI&E, which is Preliminary Marksmanship Instruction and Evaluation. So you got the IWTS. We're doing OIC RSO class because we have people in the Guard that
They're not comfortable
right.
opening and running ranges.
E5, O1, O2, just not comfortable doing the OIC duties and RSO duties. So we're doing a course for RSO OIC. We're also doing a machine gun course here this year. It's going to be a 5-day course in August.
Sergeant Cox looks like he's excited by that.
He is.
There's so many moving parts to all of this. And you said the ACFT, the new PT test is coming, and that's a very big thing. And a lot of people know about it. Apparently, judging by your reactions, the weapons qualification not only is changing, it's going to change in a huge way. I mean, a huge intellectually intensive, time-intensive commanders and their training sergeants are going to have to sit down and work together, because there are 6 different tables, sections of training, and you have to complete 4, if not 5, before you ever go to the range to shoot a qualification score. And these are day-long or half-day-long events.
Wow.
Before you
Oh,
ever.
wow. So it's not like we go to drill one weekend, we sign out our weapons, and we go to the range. Like now it's you have to take these courses and training and then go to the range.
And they are all gated, meaning if you don't do table 1, don't go to table 2, and so on and so forth. And it is a very good thing in the long run. It is a very important thing and a very good thing, but it's a fundamental change in the way we do.
So is it changing, you do your prone unsupported, you do your prone supported, and then you do your kneeling?
Go ahead.
Obviously no.
Go ahead, because everything is changing.
Oh, wow.
Kneeling barricade, standing barricade.
Oh.
Okay.
So
We're
they're
incorporating.
adding that.
Yep.
There are barricades, use of barricades. The good news is you can use the barricades to steady the weapon. So when you're standing and you're kneeling, you can lean against the barricade, and you're encouraged and taught to do this.
But you're shooting targets out to 300, kneeling and standing barricade.
Oh, wow.
So all of us old people who've been in 20 years.
It's a culture shock. It's a change of basically our way of the way we've always doctrine.
Right.
So our doctrine is being turned upside down right now.
I mean, they did that to me throwing the kneeling in. I'd been doing just prone supported and foxhole for 15 years.
All
and
of us
they
did
throw all that
in the beginning, yes.
Yes. It's when the manual came out, they said, I need to print a copy of this manual because I just started doing this thing this summer. And I said, okay, I went to talked to the print shop. I need a couple of copies of the new manual. I said, okay. And they printed it out and they put it on my desk. And walked in a couple of days later, and there's a tower of paper on my desk. I said, what is that? They said, that's your 3 copies.
Wow.
They're 832 pages. Now, bear in mind, this encompasses pistol, rifle,
all weapon systems,
snipers, individually shot weapons.
Snipers have a qual now too.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
So there's a lot of changes.
But there's no more laying on the ground, being spoon-fed commands and giving time to change positions. You're going to have 4 magazines. It's going to be on your kit. You're going to start off in the standing position, and they're going to say, watch your lane. And targets are going to be coming up and going down. So when you shoot 10 shots,
You better reload because they're still coming.
That's kind of a hint that you need to reload. And there's going to be a pause, about 7 to 10 seconds, something like that. And then there's going to be more targets coming up. But instead of singles and doubles like we used to have, it's going to be singles, doubles, triples, and quads.
Oh, my gosh.
So just on the fun side, my family and I go and we do, I think there's a carbine range going on. And so you run through and you have targets that you shouldn't hit either. Are there going to be targets that I mean, I guess they wouldn't be called targets, but, there's innocent bystanders.
There are no shoots in this, but there are also no alibis. So if you have a weapons malfunction, you best get the fixing because no one's stopping anything.
You know how we used to go out there and get multiple times to qual?
Mm-hmm.
It's a one and done.
Mm.
And if you do go back, I think you can go back once. If you don't
qual, you can take a second bite of the apple, but your maximum rating, no matter how well you shoot, if you shoot 41 out of 40, if an extra bad guy parachutes in and you receive a minimum score.
Right. Well, that's how it is with our testing, our written tests. If you bolo your first test, you never get a max score.
Right.
You get
Same
passing.
principle. Same principle.
Okay.
Same principle.
So have they implemented this yet, like in a testing phase, or is this just going to be thrown out
The active duty's
at one
already.
time?
The active duty's doing it now. Basic trainees is supposed to be doing it, but we just talked to a guy that graduated from basic training last month.
Yeah.
And they haven't done it?
They should do an old qual.
I think there is a little bit of institutional confusion at both active and reserve components because active is still trying to there's some infrastructure things that have to change, the barricades and whatnot. And on the reserve component side, there's a timeline. So active duty is already officially doing it. Reserve component, we are in this is a transition year.
Right.
Like
we're trying
ACFT.
to get our ranges correct. We're trying to get people taught up, which is what we're doing here, trying to teach these classes. to get the word out as to what's coming. So when you qualified, the way you've been doing it for, 15 years, it would take 14, maybe 15 minutes to shoot the qual, right? So like, you're going to be done in less than 5 minutes.
Oh, wow.
4.5 minutes to shoot a qual now because there's no commands. There's no
just go.
Lock and load.
Yeah.
Your 10-round or 20-round magazine. Watch your lane. Nope. It's going to be one command, and you're going to be doing everything else on your own.
Is there still going to be 20 lanes? Or is it one person going through at a time? How, we used to...
There'll be multiple lanes.
It'll still be the same.
Range 14 has, I don't know,
the
16, right?
100-yard target is going to change to a full-size silhouette versus the half size dog target, they call it. It's going to a full-size silhouette now. But you got the multiple engagements, and in order to get expert, you got to hit at least 300. In order to get sharpshooter, you got to hit a 250 or a 300. And, you got marksman now, and you got qualified.
Oh, interesting.
So it goes qualified. So you got 22, the 23, the
bare minimum,
27 or 25, whatever it is. You're qualified. You get no promotion points. Marksman, you get 25, and then sharpshooter 50, and then expert 75.
Now, what about zeroing? Is that still going to be the same?
No.
Oh, gosh. Who invited you guys here today?
I know. We weren't even supposed to be talking about this.
I know.
Y'all did.
I'm just going to derail the whole thing and launch my 45-minute soliloquy on zeroing and grouping, which are not the same things but must happen. Seriously, the grouping and zeroing, which was given hurry up and get it done so you can go qualify, is its own animal now with its own table. And before you zero your weapon, before you move the sights in any fashion, you have to shoot a group, which is measured with an overlay. And if you do not shoot the group, there's no reason to touch your sights.
That's true.
Yeah.
So this whole doing the fundamentals thing has become kind of codified and laid out logically. There are no, get your 3-round magazines and everything's 5 rounds now. which if you think about it, gives you a better reference point.
No, absolutely.
And you can have a flyer. So if you put 4 rounds into the 4 centimeter or 6 centimeter circle, depending on how good you are, how good you tell people you are, then you're good to go. You can have a flyer. Flyers are expected, and they happen to everybody. Now, if you only got 2 or 3, you need to go back and figure out what you're doing wrong. So grouping and zeroing are on the same table, but grouping is a step that must be accomplished before you're zeroing.
But it's a different target now.
The zero target, the little dude, 25 meter, the little 25 meter zeroing target is gone now.
Bullseye target. It's a bullseye target now.
With a little white diamond in the middle. It's easier to see. It's honestly easier to see.
Yes,
your front sight shows up much better.
But then doesn't that throw you off when you're actually shooting at a target?
No, that's actual true zero. So I'm not going to get into the whole science thing, but is how your eye works, how your eye perceives circles, and how you can perceive how pictures are aligned on the wall, level, and also how you can see if something is in the center of a circle versus off to the right or left. Your eye likes things that are circular, and it likes to center things. So the bullseye target gives you a true zero in relationship to the circle that's in the back and then the post that's in the front. It's just a better way to zero. And there's going to be confusion, but should be no confusion because it has every adjustment for every optic in every sighting system that the Army has at the bottom of the zero target.
So you remember on the old one, I'm using finger quotes here, the old one that had the boxes on the side with the numbers, and it would tell you how many clicks for your sight. No more. It has minutes of angle. Welcome to math.
Yeah.
Welcome to math. The good part is all of your sight, be it iron sights, different iron sights, CCO, ACOGs, whatever sight system you're using, it gives you the multiple for whatever clicks, so to speak. So if you have a CCO, you have the 68, which is the little red dot, right? So if you turn it one click, it tells you it moves it that much of a box. There's still little boxes on there. They're 1/4-inch boxes, basically. It'll tell you how much of a box. So you just have to look down and figure out, okay, look on your rifle. Oh, I got an ACOG. Look over here. Okay, it one click moves it that many.
Yeah, you say, I need to move it 8 squares. You just take 8, multiply it by whatever
the number is.
Whatever the number is, and it gives you the amount of clicks.
Once you figure it out, you're like, oh. But when you look at it, the first time I looked, I was like, oh, this is not. Right. Does the calculator come with it? Because and it's also made on write in the rain paper, so the days when it rained and they, fall off, they won't do that anymore.
Yeah, they have write in the rain paper, so they're waterproof.
So you mentioned ACOGs and CCOs.
Mm-hmm.
Will we be using those? Because I've never gone to a range with those.
It depends on the unit, I think.
Depends on the unit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
It depends on your unit and your mission.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Basically, a lot of units only give ACOGs to officers and senior enlisted. That's just a rule that they make. There's no set rule. But it also should be based off of that person's job.
Individual mission.
Individual mission. Are they a crew serve guy? Are they a infantry? Are they a rifleman? Are they
a scout? Something like
Right.
But
there's a lot of different things.
Nobody's going to deploy with an iron sight these days. They're going to have some type of optic if they deploy.
For the most part.
Yeah, that's what we did. And I mean, some people like them, some people don't. I don't see any difference for me, at least, shooting iron sight or with the CCO or whatever. But
that sounds to me like you practice the fundamentals. If you practice the fundamentals with iron sights, you can shoot just as well as anyone would. Eric has a target in our office shot by the man who holds the world record in bullseye shooting, Herschel Walker?
Herschel Anderson.
Sorry, Anderson. Different guy. Different Herschel. Yeah. I don't know. He might shoot too.
That's a running back.
Yeah. He set this record with iron sights. Now, shooting against people with optics. And he...
It's in the late 60s, early 70s.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And
still
set a record that has not been beaten. So it can be done.
And we're using optics.
And no one's beat him yet.
But instead of 18 shots now, you get 30 shots on the grouping 0 range. So now what they've changed to is on the target. They might have said it on the old target too. It says your rifle is not zeroed until you confirm at distance. So now you're going to group 0 on the 0 range.
At 25 meters.
Yep. Then you're going to have to move to the qual range. You're going to get 5 shots at a 300-meter target. This is not zeroing yet. I mean, you're not qualing yet. Mm-hmm. You're going to get 5 shots at the 300. Hit or miss. Then they're going to pop up the 100 and the 200. You're going to get 10 shots, ever how you see fit to engage those 2 targets. That's what they mean by confirm at distance. So you get a total of 45 rounds, which almost doubles, close to tripling the amount of bullets that we had before to group 0 and confirm at distance. So the confirm at distance, I think, is going to be a gracious benefit for people to actually see where they, because everybody's eyes are different. Just because you 0 at 25, when I 0 at 25, I shoot real low at 300. I'm not shooting center. Just say, oh, well, it should be back on at 300. Well, it ain't for me because it's the way I see the sights.
The math is perfect.
Math is perfect.
But people are not perfect.
Right.
So you have to make some fine-tune adjustments once you push it out in real life. You know, the difference between theory and fact is there is no difference. In fact, there is.
Our idea or our concept. So we have a skip page with all this information on there. We also have drawn up some training plans for training NCOs, training officers. Recommendations, not the gospel. Not to say this is doctrine, you got to do it this way. We made up different training plans because the guard has to be flexible. Because you go to a unit, it's hard to get everybody at that guard unit doing one thing. Mm-hmm. They're doing multiple things. They're driving vehicles. They're doing this. They're doing this. They're doing NCOERs. They're doing multiple things. So you're going to have to kind of like take shifts, do half the force, have the other half doing something else. That's kind of what we based it off of.
So can the first tables be done at the unit?
Yes.
So we can do it like over 2 or 3 drill weekends, or does it have to be on the same drill weekend?
That is correct.
2 or 3 drill weekends.
Yep.
Okay.
Generally, each table is either a half day or a day block, so to speak. Tables 1, 2, and 3 are non-firing tables, so they can be done at the unit, sergeant time training, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Lowest common unit, squad, platoon level kind of stuff. It's only when you get into the table 4, you're grouping and zeroing, that you have to have a range. Table 3, there is I'm going to say this wrong and then I'm going to say it right to correct myself. There's some things you have to do for table 3 that's probably going to be difficult to do at home station, because the program of record is SSVT, which is a Soldier Squad Virtual Trainer, which we don't currently have in the system right now. I think in a couple of years there's some plans to have them.
Virtual reality,
It's pretty cool stuff, but I think the closest one might be at Benning. But that being said, an acceptable alternate to that is the EST, which a lot of places have access to, or a lot of units have access to, as long as they're up and running and everything works good. If something happens in that situation, dry fire is an acceptable also alternate plan for that, which can be done with the rifles themselves. You can use the beam hit lasers. There's a number of ways you can do that. So table 3 might be done in-house or might be a trip to the EST, just depending on if you have scheduled it and you have access to it.
And the EST is at McCready.
Correct.
over there by the call for fire trainer and all that stuff. And then you got table 5, which the times are condensed. So
it's the same.
It's a practice
same thing as the qualification, except harder. That's the only difference.
Yep.
Harder, so that actual qualifying is easier.
That's exactly correct. So the times that the targets are up are shorter. The times that the targets are down are shorter, and you have induced malfunctions. There's a dummy round, drill round somewhere.
It's a dummy round somewhere in your 4 magazines.
Wow.
So
you really have to know your weapon, too.
If you can do table 5 and shoot well, you are going to smoke the qual.
Mm-hmm.
For real.
Well, that's good. It's also more of like an ego boost.
Absolutely.
So you're talking about 45 rounds of zero, 40 rounds of qual, so that's 85. If you shoot to practice, add another 40. So 125 rounds.
Now, with all this change, though, how do you see, at least for South Carolina Guard, like moving towards that? Like, I mean, you see how we've gone with the different units and going to the ranges and how our qualifications are now. How do you see implementing this that's completely different and moving forward with it?
That's where we hope to kind of make a difference in getting these people to come to these courses, training NCOs, but we want these people to be shooters already. We're going to vet them day one.
The time is limited. It's only a 2-day course. The time is very limited, so we don't want to start with the very bottom.
We want sharpshooter and above, and then we're going to vet them. We're going to make them shoot groups before we even let them come through the course. They're going to have to show me or show us that they're going to be able to shoot a group.
Because that helps you know that they know the fundamentals.
Exactly. So we can kind of weed the other people out. But I'll let him talk about that. He's going to teach them to do things.
We will do things. Yes, we will do many things. There will be many learnings.
He's going to teach them to shoot better in the 2 days, if possible. He's also going to teach them to teach what to look for, how to train our up-and-coming changes in force on how we can implement these changes and make it fluent and not hard like I know it's going to be.
It's a big process, but basically what's happening is the responsibility, but also the expertise is being pushed down closer to the individual soldier, which in my opinion is a better thing, because the individual soldier is where the rubber meets the road at the end of the day. If something has to happen, if someone needs to be shot, he's not going to have 25 people coming by and advising him how best to go about doing this.
Or how to fix his weapons jam.
That's exactly right.
Right.
It will be on the individual soldier.
There's 15 sets of drills, too, that you're supposed to accomplish. There's a whole block just for drills, and it's 15 different ones, which is one of them is malfunctions, one of them is how to load it. It's going to be very time-consuming.
Yeah, but I think in the end it'll be beneficial because
it should be. Units should show up to the range ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
They should have. You're gonna have problem children, you know that, but all in all, you're gonna have which is kind of what I envisioned when we used to go to the ranges with people. Says, hey, let's pull a couple guys to the side, 5 or 10 guys. Let them stay back here on zero range. Let us work with them some, because we really can't help you on the qual range. I mean, we're not supposed to go out there and tell you what targets are coming up and going down, but people let us. But just take these guys, and Fort Benning's offering a course now called the Marksmanship Master Trainer course. It's 5 weeks.
Wow.
You're going to hear more about this as time goes on.
because it's in the manual, and they want every unit or battalion to have a guy that's a Marksmanship Master Trainer, and it's going to come with a ASI as well. So all that's been done. It's in the works. It's done deal, and it's written into the manual. And just the manual was written by people who shoot competitively.
Oh.
It was written by the Army Marksmanship Unit.
And that's a perfect transition into why we actually invited you guys here today, right? To talk about the tag match.
Yes.
Exactly.
So
we said all that to say this.
Yes. We kind of got off topic because you threw us for a
Yes, I wasn't expecting any of that.
Thought the ACFT was bad enough, and now we're relearning everything.
Keep at it. What's next? I mean, I don't know. Anyways. So the tag match, I mean, I really didn't know much about it until I had some people in my old MP unit go, and one of them was in the top 20, and I still didn't really understand it. I've kind of been around you a couple times with the marksmanship team, which was pretty cool. So could you kind of explain a little bit about what the tag match is and when it is and how to get involved in it?
So it's, we cut it short and call it the tag match, but the long name is Warfighter. Let me see if I can remember. Warfighter Training Sustainment Training Exercise. Warfighter Sustainment Training Exercise. But basically, we're taking fundamentals, but applying them rapidly and consistently in competition and times and matches, and allowing people to operate as a team, negotiate obstacles, run, carry, do litter carries, all that kind of stuff. We're incorporating a bunch of warrior task type stuff, but also scoring the targets and all that kind of stuff.
So it's a competition, both team and individual, mixed up in this thing. Different tasks, different weapons. You'll shoot pistols, you'll shoot rifles, you'll shoot shotguns, you'll shoot sniper rifles. There'll be all kinds of things.
Sometimes machine guns.
Yeah, just depending on how it changes from year to year, kind of keep people guessing so they don't get too confident, cocky, and roll in there and act like they're gonna,
Yep. But
it's pretty intense, but I enjoy watching the teams that come through because usually they're 4-man teams. Sometimes they'll have subs or coaches or whatever, but just to watch the good-natured competition between different guard units and a little bit of trash talk in a good-natured way, and they're egging each other on and they're pushing each other to do better. And you can quickly find out if you're deficient in something, and it might be PT. If you're, say you're carrying a litter with a 160-pound dummy on it back, when you're buddies and you're the guy slowing everyone down, it kind of like, okay, I'll be doing a little more running next month. So I enjoy working it. It's really long days, but it's one of those things where you truly enjoy doing it.
So how many teams usually compete?
Well, the past few years have been kind of slim. So we're willing to accept 15 teams. So 1 per 05 command is kind of how we work it out. But if, let's say, Med Command don't put in a team, come January 15th, it's a free-for-all.
Okay.
So if the infantry wants to put in 5 teams,
come on.
If I got room, I'll let them. Like we just got done talking to Colonel Ramey. I think he's putting in 4 teams from the AA.
Oh, wow.
They are gunning for this thing.
So
if you're not in the
field
AA.
artillery and then from the AA. But, we incorporated the sniper rifle the past couple of years, and people really enjoy that because there's a lot of units like AA, MPs, whatever the case may be, they don't get the opportunity to shoot that weapon system. Now it's a down and dirty class. It's nothing intense. We pretty much zero the rifle for you, tell you where to hold in the optic, and most people get hits. I mean, it's not that hard. You only shoot out, I'd say not that hard.
But shooting a suppressed sniper rifle out at, when we have them 600 yards and hitting steel and hearing that thing hit, people tend to enjoy that.
Yeah, and the target's like a half target. You know, it's about this big.
Yeah, it's a legit shoot for real.
Yeah. My first time actually seeing the tag match, I went out with when it was General Livingston, and he just got to get on the sniper rifle, and he, ping, he's like, yay!
There you go, declare victory.
Yep. And we shoot out of the tower sometimes, or we shoot on the ground. Just depends. We try to change it up every year. This year we're going to incorporate some different targets coming from our international counterparts, the Canadians and the Brits. They have introduced some targets on the other competitions that we shoot nationally and regionally. So we're going to incorporate those targets this year. They're more forgiving. Well, I say more forgiving, but you can't see the scoring rings. Scoring rings are like a light yellow, pale color. And from a distance, you can't see the scoring rings. You just got to know where
high center mass is.
Yeah, where high center mass is. So that's where you want to aim, which is also, too, the Army's big on lethality now. So all the targets we used to shoot here, we're going to be shooting all your targets with scoring rings are going to be raised up to the high chest area now. That's where all your stuff's going to be scored now. Instead of 2 to the body, 1 to the head, it's going to be 2 to the upper chest and 1 to the head. That's your body armor failure drill.
So when exactly is the tag match?
So February 28th will be check-in. And that's where we're going to do all the weapons checks, because some people do things to rifles they're not supposed to, and pistols, make the triggers lighter, put different recoil springs in them, you know. So that's where we'll do a maintenance check. And then basically we'll go through all the courses of fire to make sure nobody has any questions prior to the match. And then after lunch sometime, we'll take them out to 0 on that Friday. And then Saturday and Sunday will be the matches
themselves.
Yeah, Sunday we try to get done around lunch so we have time to compile the results, see who makes the governor's 20, see who gets EIC points, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you might want to go into the EIC and the governor's 20 a little bit, because I think a lot of people would like to get some EIC points.
Yeah, so the governor's 20 tab, we kind of based it on the same premise as the president's 100. Before, we had 30 competitors, we gave away 20 badges. We realized that some of these people, not the fact they don't deserve it, but they didn't shoot well. They weren't great shots, but they got a badge. So that's when we kind of had to rethink the whole situation about when our participation was up, it was fine. 60 people, I don't mind giving away 20 badges, or awarding 20 badges. But so we had to change all that. So now we do 20%. So we base it off 100 competitors, the top 20%. So if we got 100 competitors, we'll give away 20 badges. If we have 50 competitors, we'll give away 10 badges. So that's kind of how we had to mitigate it. And I think it's worked out better that way. But I also had to invoke a new rule because we keep having the same people come back. The CST, not to call them out, but
yeah,
they have some good shooters.
They got great shooters.
They got good shooters.
And they keep coming back. Field artillery, I mean, it's got some great shooters. The infantry guys, John Jordan, Stuckey, Patrick Stuckey, you know, they had great shooters. So I put a rule in where if you have the President's 100 tab, if you're distinguished in rifle or pistol, if you have the Chief's 50 badge, you know, all the different awards, if you have 20 or more EIC points, you can only compete every 2 years.
Okay.
Just to open it up to the rest of the guard guys to have opportunity.
Yeah.
Right.
The MPs, Craven, you know, he's a good shooter, no doubt about it. But every year he gets trumped by, you know, the guys that always get it. So, and we kind of want the people that do well and win the tag match over the years to kind of go full circle and start helping us run the match and help us do things, or if they want to be a coach for their team. But we try to weed those people, not weed them out.
We want to
spread
take
love.
their expertise
Right.
and share it with the other shooters.
Right.
Really.
Yeah, so they have the opportunity to earn the Governor's 20 tab and also the pistol or rifle EIC badge, which is the Excellence in Competition badge. And it supersedes any qualification badge that you can wear on your uniform. And it comes with a set of orders from Fort Benning. And even officers can wear this badge. So the officers can't wear qualification badges, but they can wear Excellence in Competition badges. But it goes to the premise of the Olympics. It goes bronze, silver, gold. So once you get this is just an introductory leg. So you get 4 points if you leg at the match. So it's the top 10%. So let's say we got 40 people that don't have points. Then we're going to give away or award 4 badges. If they go on to the regions and the nationals and they start earning points, once they get to 20 points, they get a silver badge. Once they get 30 points, they get the gold badge, and they're considered distinguished. And that is engraved with your name and then the year you became distinguished.
Wow.
And it's a permanent order, and then you can wear it on your dress uniform. But yeah, so to have the opportunity to earn 3 badges, and we were incorporating the German stuff in there too, that was a 4th award that they could get, the Shoots and Snare.
Okay, yeah. So with the awards, like the Governor's 20, the President's 100, is that something that you can always wear? Or is it like, because you said that people keep coming back, so does that mean that you have to keep re-qualifying in order to be able to wear it?
No.
They shoot it just because they like it.
Okay, but
if I won it once, I could wear it the rest of my career.
Well, some people call it badge protecting.
But yes, you can.
Yes.
If you have the President 100 and 19, I don't know, some of the guys on the team have won it back in the 80s.
Yeah, when
90s.
actually the president actually signed the certificates.
Oh.
President don't sign them anymore.
But yes, you can.
Yeah, it's permanent, but by the state regulation it's not, which I've tried to change multiple times with Mr. What's his name? The state chief of staff. Braddock. Yeah, Mr. Braddock. I guess I'm about to get a new memo signed by the new tag anyway, with the new Governor's 20 and all this other stuff. We got a lot of stuff in the mix since the tag changed that we've had him sign in the past. So
how do you think you could, you said numbers have been dwindling about who's coming and you're getting a lot of repeat. How do you think you can get new people in?
We've tried different channels. We've tried Facebook one year. We've tried G3 pushing it out to the training officers, which it never makes it down to the soldier. That's the problem that we always see, even with these classes, the IWTS and us going to units and doing training, is really building a following.
Yeah.
I mean, it's talking to the guys at the MPs, becoming friends with them, inviting them to these other matches.
It's like everything else.
And just letting
relationships.
letting them see what there is. I mean, there's a whole competitive marksmanship manual written by the Army. It's an Army regulation, AR 350-66. It's about 30 pages. You want to read it? It talks about Army small, wide, competitive events. And it has all the events. It talks about the Olympics. It talks about, I mean, it's just knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
It's just people don't know that this kind of stuff is out there. And I try to educate people as much as I can about going to Little Rock to compete, and going to Tullahoma, Tennessee, which is where our regional is held. But there's all Army championships at Fort Benning. So we won the MAC 3 region, Marksmanship Advisory Council region. South Carolina's the Region 3 champs for the past 3 years. So we automatically get an invite to All Army, which is held at Fort Benning, and we're competing against the 101st, 82nd, all your divisions, your major commands, 1st Army, 2nd Army. So we got an automatic invite to there, but there's 7 other guard teams that's going too, because you got 7 MACs. So they're going too. It's us, California, Vermont, Pennsylvania, the states that win their max get to go to All Army. So hopefully last year we were 4th place going into the last 2 days, and then we kind of fell off the map because we're doing different disciplines and stuff.
But to kind of circle around on the backside of the start of the conversation, this is a fun thing for the soldiers to do. It's I wouldn't say it's low pressure, but it's a lot of fun, and there's people, as long as everything's running safe and people are kind of doing what they're supposed to be doing, people really just enjoy the fun of getting out there and running around and doing things that they picture themselves doing when they join up in the Guard, a lot of people. But if they do well at this, then they can start finding themselves traveling to other matches, which are bigger, more pressure. But again, when you do well, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and it kind of opens up a new world, so to speak.
It's fun. It's fun. It's great training. It's great realistic training.
Yes.
But it's also I'm trying to think of the word I'm looking for. It's a challenge to a lot of these people, and I know some guys that shoot well and they buckle under pressure, or they make a mental mistake and stuff like that. And we try to, and we help, and we actually help these people as much as we can. I mean, we don't try to give them an advantage, but we try to, give them pep talk, give them some advice. Hey, I see you doing this. So it all turns into a great training exercise as well.
We try to be encouraging and helpful to every team and every shooter that comes through there, regardless of their ability. If you're shooting great, hey, you're doing great. Keep doing what you're doing. If you're struggling a little bit, you might want to try this, that, or the other, something like that.
Well, I know, like I said, I've known people to be in the tag match, but I always thought it was for those that shot expert.
No.
You had to be good before you went to it.
No, show up. So. You can show up and be terrible, and some teams have done this, but you figure it out.
Right. It's still learning experience makes you better.
We had some RSP cadets show up.
Yeah,
really? Sure. A couple years ago, we had 2 or 3 sets of them.
Yeah.
Some
of them did well.
They had no gear, because they're still RSP. So a lot of their section leader or whoever the E7 that was with them, forgot his name, but he had to get them some gear and that kind of stuff. It was cold that year, but also too, I like to see, not to really make fun of people, but the people that have to run and don't normally run, like the Germans too. They hate to run, but even our guys, I like to see the misery and the agony as well. I mean, I like to see people.
Man, you are not selling this thing.
I know. But it's great when they got to do that litter carry.
That's because
I love
we're not running. but it truly, a little bit of stress, and there's few ways you can place people under stress when you're engaged in an inherently dangerous activity. We have to mitigate the risk, so we're not going to do anything stressful in that sense. But a run or push-ups or burpees, something like that, can get the heart rate elevated and kind of create some type of stress.
Right. Kind of like the Best Warrior competition.
Yep.
I mean,
similar.
Same exact way. So we're actually doing the stress shoot for it again this year.
Okay.
By some miraculous reason why people,
what you looking at?
people volunteered us again. I told them to kind of, give me a break, but they're not. So
well, I'll be there, so I'll come hang out with you guys.
We'll be doing the stress shoot for Best Warrior again this year. So they liked it last year, so I guess I should have did a bad job.
No, you just got to improve each year.
I know. I'm always that way.
Exactly. So, and then maybe we'll prepare them for the tag match, because then a couple weeks after Best Warrior is the tag match. So, I mean, never know. But definitely, I'm really glad that you guys were able to come today and talk with us, especially about all this that we've talked about. And hopefully this could be a platform for you guys to be able to spread the word. I mean, the studios here, we can do anything. As long as you have a plan in place and you give us enough time to do it, we can pretty much do any kind of video or podcast or whatever to get the word out. And whenever you guys have other kind of matches and stuff, I mean, I haven't been to one. It's been over a year since I went to the one that you guys went to. And it was a lot of fun to go out and see. And I think maybe getting the word out, showing people what you do, and maybe it'll spark some interest. Because, I mean, like I said, I've heard of the tag match, didn't really know what it entailed. I've known people that have competed, but when you're an M-Day soldier, I feel like you're at drill, you get all hyped up about all this stuff, and then you go home and you completely forget about what's going on the rest of the month because, I mean, you have your separate life. Right. So I think maybe just oversaturating in a sense, just pushing and pushing out there and giving them this information and all these different things that they can do outside of just drill, I think will be beneficial. And it shows them that the South Carolina National Guard has a lot more to offer than they really thought that we did. So I'm really glad that you guys were able to come and talk to us today. Hopefully we'll have you in the future. Maybe we'll have you come back before the tag match since it is in February and just give maybe a little bit more details and stuff like that, and just to say, hey, don't forget this is going on, and see what turns out from it.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
All right. So I'm glad that Sergeant Lawrence and Sergeant Cox were able to come in and talk to us today about the tag match, as well as some other information we weren't expecting.
Heck yeah. I didn't know anything about a new style of firing for qualification.
I know.
I mean, I was really thrown a loop when they put kneeling in it for me, and now I now have to learn something completely different again.
Yeah. I feel like I don't know. I wonder how long it's been like in the making though, because I mean the PT stuff they've been talking about this for several years, and now they're finally implementing it. So it's like, well, how long have they been talking about this new
qualification? And we're just hearing about it.
Exactly.
And it's going to be implemented next year.
Yeah. Like for the other units, I know it's going to be challenging because I mean I've been in a line unit, and like they were saying, it's hard to have everybody there at one time or have everybody sit down during a training because there's officers doing this and there's people in the motor pool doing that. So, I mean, I completely understand what they're saying. So I'm curious to see how the units, now that you have to actually do training beforehand, how that's going to work. But on top of that, I'm thinking like, how is the pad going to do that? Like,
right.
Because before I was there, they didn't qualify for several years just because of the up tempo of the job and split training and all this, and then the last 2 years they've gone to the range. But now I'm like, how are we supposed to do all this training and then go to the range to the practice
tables,
and then to qualify? Like, how are we gonna put all of that into one fiscal year?
I don't know.
Like,
you're gonna have to start doing more 3-day drills or something.
Or maybe that's your AT, like. But I don't know, because that, like, for us, it's different because our AT is year round. And then in December, we were able to do training with all the PAOs, which was awesome because there's a lot of new faces that I haven't seen. I've heard names and stuff. And we haven't been able to actually do training like a regular line unit gets to during their AT, because we're going and we're covering this AT.
Yeah, two-man teams going out to cover the field artillery or the air defense artillery or infantry. Yeah, you always go out in teams, so you're not working as the pad. And how are you supposed to, when on a drill weekend that you might want to get this done, you're going to be covering infantry, doing something else.
Exactly. So that was I'm glad that we were able to do that, but at the same time thinking about going into this new fiscal year, like, how are we going to, as well as implementing this new PT test, how are we going to implement this new qualification? I mean, it sounds fun because, I mean, you do the same thing for so many years and it just gets repetitive and boring. And when they tell you you're going to the range, it's like, I got to wake up early. It's probably going to rain.
It's probably going to rain.
It's probably
going
to
be hot.
Or hot. And
it's always something just not perfect.
Yeah, you mentally already have that set mindset that, like, you know what it's going to be. So I don't know, maybe it'll be a lot easier or more fun.
Hopefully more fun, because, you know, and I just wanted to talk about a little bit of recruiting and retention.
Yeah.
A lot of our traditional 1 weekend a month soldiers, they get bored on drill weekends. So this might be a great challenge, you know, something to look forward to, because it's going to take more than one drill weekend to prepare for it. So, hey, we get to do weapon stuff this weekend and we get to do weapon stuff that weekend. And, you know, it might be something better for retention.
Yeah, I like that you bring that up, because, I mean, how many times have we heard that people get bored with drill weekends, or like they don't want to go to, they like going to the range, but they get upset at the fact that as a guard unit, we go once a year. Well, now you have to do all this training beforehand, and you have to go to the range for the practice course before you can qualify. So maybe now we'll be able to go to the range more often and shoot more and get more practice so that we feel more comfortable.
Right.
So, because at basic training, that's all you did. Like, and then when I came back, like, I was a pretty good shot whenever I was in basic. And then I come back, and not saying I'm terrible, like, I can still qualify, but it's like, it's muscle memory. Like, yeah, they say if you haven't ridden a bike for a while and you get back on, you're going to remember, but you're not going to really be as good as you were when you were doing it all the time.
Right.
So, I don't know. I think it's going to be the same with the PT test. Like, everybody threw their hands up and got all upset about it. And I think as time went on, people started to be more open to it after seeing, like, the training and like just the different things that come with it.
Right. And just because something's different doesn't really mean it's harder.
No.
But a challenge is always good. Mm-hmm. So the new PT test, there's a few exercises that are challenging, not impossible. So it's going to be the same with the new weapons qual. Challenging, but not impossible.
Exactly. So. And I think because we have, like, most of us are M-Day soldiers, that I don't even know if I'm going to explain this right or put it into words, but, like, you go to drill and you want something to show for it. You don't want to just show up and feel like you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
And so doing the same thing, going and sitting in briefs or annual trainings or like mandatory stuff that you always have to do. You always have to do up tempo. Like, that's so boring. Like, every drill is like, got to get in the Humvee. We got to put 150 miles on in. And then it's like, well, you got to do all this other stuff on top of it. And so I think breaking it up maybe will help.
Break up a drill weekend.
Exactly. And make it more fun and interesting instead of you dreading going to drill. Because, I mean, for newer soldiers, you don't want to put a bad taste in their mouth their first couple drills because they're excited. They just got a basic, like, they're ready to start this. And then someone who's been there for 10, 15 years and they're just raining on their parade, then it kind of puts them in a bad mood or dampers on their
excitement.
Yeah. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to have them come in and maybe go into more detail about about everything.
Right.
I mean, Sergeant Lawrence, you could talk to him for hours and he can, like he was saying, get into the science of it. I've heard him talk about the science of shooting and I'm like, how do you even know all of this?
Yeah.
Like, it's just crazy.
Maybe even do some training videos.
Yes, that would be cool. Because we've done other kind of videos like the education stuff. So I think having something that soldiers can go to outside of drill, like our YouTube, that's what our YouTube should be for. Like, they can go and listen to our podcast. They can see what we've done throughout the year. They can show their families what they've done. And having a source for them to be able to access easily, it makes it so much simpler. Because, I mean, if we had all these different training videos, whatever it is, when they're at home and it's not close to a drill weekend, like it's the middle of the month, they can just sit there and watch them. And it's like a refresher course in a sense.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I don't know. We'll see what happens, hopefully. And then if there's anything that you guys want us to talk about, maybe some videos you want us to create, leave us a comment in the comments below. If there's anybody that would like to come on and talk to us about a specific topic, let us know as well. Definitely make sure that you're liking and subscribing to our channel. We're not as close as we wanted to be for the new year, but we're still inching up there. I think we're at 390 right now. We wanted to hit 500, but hopefully with the new year, we'll get some more subscribers and some more traction to the page with all these new changes and stuff that we're adding to it. So, yeah. Well, I'm Sergeant Chelsea Baker.
And I'm Lieutenant Tracci Dorgan.
And we'll catch you in the next episode.